Em, can you believe we started Interview Boss in 2021?
Not really. It's insane. That's a lot of episodes and a lot of hours of talking.
Oh my gosh, it is. And if you're scrolling through all of our episodes, you might scroll straight past something that you really, really needed.
Yes, we're always getting messages from people asking us to do an episode on something, and I'm like, we already have.
So we've put together playlists to help you find the episodes that are exactly what you need, suited to your situation.
They're all categorized. If you're applying for jobs, we have episodes about resumes, cover letters, job ads. If you've been offered your dream job, we have episodes on resigning, exit interviews, and how to impress at your new company.
And we even have a very special playlist that's very popular for if you have an interview coming up immediately and you need just our most recommended hard-hitting episodes between now and then.
For all our last-minute listeners. It's all there for you. You can browse by category and check out all the playlists at interviewboss.com.au/podcast.
But with this one, it's going to smash it straight away. I have seen people mentally deciding when they're interviewing someone, when they're still in their intro, yep, this is the person.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Interview Boss. My name is Emma. I'm a radio journalist who's teamed up with my sister to give you advice, inspiration, and support when you're looking for a new job. Sarah is a HR and recruitment professional, and together we're here to give you all the tips, tricks, and behind-the-scenes knowledge to help you in your career.
Hey, Em, and welcome back, our wonderful Interview Boss listeners. Who are we shouting out this week? And this one is a good one. It's a good one.
It is. It's actually a follow-up from our friend Kirby, who we dedicated a recent episode to about why being too enthusiastic in a job interview can actually be a bad thing. And we have an update. He said, Sarah and Em, there I was in the airport wrapping up my travels for a full day of interviews and facilitation for a job, and boom, the episode you created for my plight shows up in my Spotify. I start listening and smile at all the work I did in between your original DM and the moment I'm in. Post-interview, feeling great. I know what was going on. I was trying to be Mr. Fantastic, Sir Yapper, Doctor Doesn't Matter How Much You Tell Me This Job Sucks, I Think It's Perfect, Chatterbox Jr., King of Everything.
Oh, I love that so much. I think that just tells me exactly what kind of person Kirby is. And I think that you just nailed it in our episode where we were talking about, hey, don't dull who you are. You're an awesome person.
Don't dull your sparkle. Yes.
He's so funny. Mr. Fantastic, Sir Yapper. I think you should have a podcast, mister.
Loves a yappuccino, this guy, just like me. He says, I don't love that that's how I showed up in my past interviews, but at the same time, I took to heart some of your advice as well as perspectives of people I can trust to be real with me. My key takeaways: number one, show them range. I started to be more mysterious and concise in my answers to allow the interviewer a chance to be interested and ask follow-up questions versus over-explaining or being a 10 out of 10 energy from start to finish. I started at a 6 and then warmed up. I like this because he's not saying just play really hard to get and don't be excited. He's just don't go in 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it's you can be a 6 and then you can be a 10 and then you can be a 6 again, because again, that's what you'd be like at work. You're not a 10 every day, all day. So show them that you have that range, which you actually do. I love that way of thinking about it.
Number 2, chill the F out. This basically boils down to taking the job off the pedestal and reclaiming my value beyond work. Yes, I'm desperate and I'm passionate. Both can exist. But when those things, along with anxiety, it's not cool. I did some breath work before my interviews and went in with an attitude if they want me, sick. If they don't, meh. All good. I'm going to get a cinnamon roll. I've never resonated so much with something in my life. I want to get that tattooed on my body. I love cinnamon rolls.
I'm going to get a cinnamon roll.
I think about them every day. In fact, once a week, I probably buy myself a Cinnabon, and it's a little treat, and it just makes my entire week. I live for a Cinnabon. I make them at home on Sundays.
You make them? How do you make them? Or do you just put them in the oven, you mean?
No, I make them from scratch.
What do you mean scratch? Do you mean puff pastry?
No, I make them by hand, like an 1800s housewife. I knead the dough. I make them. Yes.
1800s.
What do you mean? What do you mean from scratch?
Cinnamon buns. I just didn't expect that you were going to say that you actually knead the dough. I thought you were going to be like, oh, yeah, it's puff pastry or something like. Yeah, wow, that's really blown me away. Amazing.
Anyway, so I love that so much. Just good perspective. If it doesn't work out,
you deserve a treat. I think we do that in our post-interview episode of like, you deserve a treat. Go and get a treat. It's a coffee. It's a chocky.
If it doesn't work out, you'll still have a cinnamon roll, so it's all good.
Right.
Anyway, Kirby says, longer story short, I'm listening to the episode and the phone rings, the offer. I negotiate up my salary. I included an added week of vacation and solid sign-on and relocation bonuses. This shout out and thank you is not for the outcome, but for the journey. Thank you for the Hype Up episode I listened to while walking to the interview, and then the inspired Hype Up call I made to my bestie, Emily, who also listens to the podcast. Hi, Emily.
Shout out, Emily. Hi.
Thank you for being candid queens, confidantes, and bestest mates. I'm not Aussie, but hey, I'm trying. Of the beautiful disaster we worked our way through. Cheers, love you, but I don't really. Sorry, that's too much. Thank you, Kirby.
Kirby! I feel like Kirby is my spirit animal.
Kirby was giving me Aussie energy. I wouldn't have known he wasn't Aussie until the end.
Yeah, I don't know. Something tipped me off and I can't think of what it was now, but amazing. Like, I just love even just like the attitude of shouting out the journey, not the end result, and like, love you, but don't really. Like, it's so good. It's really sunk in. And I think there's some awesome lessons out of this for anyone who feels like they were maybe a bit too keen, too enthusiastic. It's a wonderful ending.
Now, if you want some results like Kirby, but you need a little bit of help to get there, you can check out Sarah's one-on-one coaching sessions. She also has the Interview Academy, which is a step-by-step guide to your interview prep that you don't need to book a time for. It's there for you when you're ready to walk through.
And it'll be the full spectrum. I think one-on-one coaching is like you've done some stuff and you need help in a particular area, but it's only an hour. We can't fully transform your interview prep in just an hour. Like, you're going to need to prep for more than an hour. So if you need a full end-to-end, exactly everything you need to do, all the research, all the nerves, all what you're going to do in this situation, that situation, then check out the Academy. This helps you know which is which. Now, if you liked one of our episodes or you're in a bit of a dilemma like Kirby and you need a bit of help, slide into our DMs. But what do they need to do first before the DM slide?
Kindly follow us on Instagram.
Yes. Emma insists that you follow us, please, on Instagram. We try and post. We're going to try and post a bit more regularly.
No, you need to post. I've been doing my bit. You have neglected our socials. So
I am going to try and post a bit more regularly.
You need to take control of this. I take no responsibility for the state of our socials.
The state of our socials. Go and follow us so that I feel guilty, and then the guilt will motivate me to post more, please. Because we look like we don't exist anymore, even though we put so much effort into all of our episodes. Our poor little Instagram. Go and give us a follow, a pity follow. Now, what are we talking about today, Em? What is our topic?
How to practice, a very important part of your interview preparation. The last step, if you will. You've already done all the prep. You've got all your bits, your stories. Now it's time to practice. Have your little mock interview.
Practice makes perfect, but we're not going for perfect, so we're just practicing. That was terrible.
The more you practice, the easier it gets.
Yes. Well, we haven't actually touched on this really before. And so when I came up with this idea, I was like, oh my God, of course we need to do an episode on this. And this is actually part one in a 2-part series of how to practice. And we will reveal later on in this chat what part 2 is going to be about. I think it's going to be a really good one that a lot of people are going to find really helpful. So why is practice important? First of all, confidence. That's like the number one thing people say is like they want to be confident going into their interview. Well, if you're prepped and you're practiced, then you're going to feel confident. You're going to be like, I've done these answers before. There's nothing new here that's going to trip me up.
You'll also get better at storytelling. The first time that you say out loud a story that you've planned well, like you've jotted it down, you've come up with the points, but the first time you actually say it out loud, it's going to be a bit clunky and rambly and it's not going to land amazingly. But the more you say it, by the end, it's a perfectly wrapped bow and you've nailed the inflections, the pauses, and it just sounds so good.
And I just realized, like, this is your episode, isn't it? Because, like, you have to practice stuff out loud all the time. That's like literally your job.
Yeah, I guess so.
Speaking things out loud that you have written. So
yeah,
you're the expert today, I think. I love that. That is so true. You're like, oh yeah, I've got my story sorted. And then you try and say it and you're like, oh, hold on. I can't work out how to link these two ideas. Something about saying it out loud is not working. Then you go back to the drawing board and you add another little sentence in there and it's all fixed. Practicing really helps that stuff. Repetition also makes your memory better, and then you're less likely to forget what's going on in the story because you've said it out loud a couple of times before you actually had to do the interview. Like, I think you're just less likely to forget, wait, what happened next?
Yes. And the better that you know your base stories, the easier it will be to adapt to them. Flashback to year 11 and 12 English, the essay's coming up, you've got your quotes from the shitty novel you've been forced to read. You don't know what the question's going to be, but you know those quotes inside out, and you know that when you go in there, you can adapt them to conflict, ethics,
journeys.
Yeah, you can adapt those babies to anything, you know, all elements of the stories.
And shout out to any other country that also does that kind of thing, where you preparing for your final exams, you know that they're going to ask you about these things, but the questions are going to be different under exam conditions. So you have like an essay ready, but you have to adapt it. It's the same kind of thing that we're doing with our interview answers. And you can kind of tweak the stuff on the fly. Like if you know your base story really well, you can be like, oh, for that question that they asked me that I wasn't expecting, I can just talk about a little bit more detail on this bit in this story because I already know them so well. Makes it easier. Now, what other ideas do we have? What else is practice going to do? You're the expert here now, I've just realised. Why do we practice?
Not sure.
Just because you should. Because Emma said so.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah. Okay, so what are we practicing? Well, we should practice our career story. Now, if you're unfamiliar with that language, it's our tell me about yourself. Your intro, your icebreaker, that first question that they ask, why are you here? Why have you applied? All of that is all in there together. You should practice that because that's probably the only question that we can predict will absolutely be in our interview. Now, there's certain circumstances where it might not be. They might not do the intro question, but like every interview, I'm going in expecting that they're going to ask me some version of that question. So you better be sure that that's going to be my most practiced answer, because I'm definitely going to be able to use it.
And it's first. So it is so satisfying when you get to smash it out of the park. You can tell they're engaged. They've set it off on a right foot. It's going to give you a little confidence boost and get the little nerves out by the time you get into your nitty-gritty, really good stories.
Yes. And then the rest of your stories, you might be like, oh shit, I've got so many stories. Like I don't remember them all. I'm going to bumble a little bit more. But with this one, it's going to like smash it straight away. I have seen people mentally deciding when they're interviewing someone, when they're still in their intro, like, yeah, this is the person. Like it can be that moment for sure. So we're definitely practicing our career story. We're also practicing all of our best bits. Now, if you're new here and new to the Interview Boss universe, then your best bits are your interview examples, your answers, your stories, your best bits. So how are we practicing by ourselves?
Read them aloud. Do that a couple of times. You can also time yourself, which is a good one to do because people tend to get scared about how long they're taking to answer questions. But for the tell me about yourself or the career story, you definitely have a solid, 4 minutes to do that?
A couple of minutes at least, yeah. Like if you think about an hour-long interview, they're going to ask you however many questions. Like you can take friggin' 3 minutes at the beginning to introduce yourself. Like just relax. It's not that long. And some people say, oh, I feel like I'm talking too much. That's kind of the point. That's they already know about them. They want to know about you.
And also, maybe you could time it because your story might come out, say, 20 seconds long, and then you go, ooh, on the day, I'm going to be nervous and I'll probably blow through that, and there's not enough meat in it. Like, you might time it and realize it needs a bit more oomph.
Yeah. I've never seen an intro that was too long, with the exception of one that was half an hour. If it's not half an hour, you're fine. I promise you, the amount of people who think that it's too long, and it's just never too long. It's just, I've never told anyone that. it's always too short. It's always too short. Take up the time, introduce yourself properly, time it, practice it out loud. Take away your notes and try and like read it and then check back to your notes and then look, you know, where you do that thing where you're like testing yourself kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
One of our other tips is to put on your phone or on your laptop or something like the voice typing thing, and don't look at it because it'll freak you out seeing your words come up on the screen. But like turn that on and then do your answer out loud. What you're kind of doing is recording yourself, but you don't need to hear your voice back because you'll get all freaked out about how you sound. Instead, it's going to type down all the words you're saying and then you can look back at the words that you used and just make sure you didn't miss anything. See how it sounded, all that kind of stuff. See if you accidentally missed out a section, if you're not using your notes. Like that can be a really good way to test how did I do with that answer.
See if you're saying the word awesome 500 times, because I did an interview the other day and realized that I said awesome about 9 times and I gave myself the ick. I was like, yeah, I need a new word. So yeah, you can catch yourself out on any icks. And I wanted you to say the word dictation, but you didn't. So that's a shame. But Sarah had here put on voice dictation, and that just sounds so lame.
Do you remember Summer Heights High with Jonah and he would draw the dick and do tation at the end of it? Dictation.
I was going to say my year 4 teacher, we used to do dictation, like he'd read out stuff for us to write down to test us. And he had a song that he'd sing every time before we did it. And in hindsight, it doesn't really make any sense. But he'd go, dictation, dictation, dictation. 3 sausages went to the station. 1 got lost and 1 got squashed and 1 had a big operation.
What? Who was that? What teacher was that?
Mr.
Oh, I was hoping you were going to say Mr.
No, this is in primary school.
Oh, in primary school.
I said year 4.
Okay.
Why would I be doing dictation in high school?
I don't know. I was weirded out. It was, and the sausage thing was, I was like, why was everybody putting up with this?
Or you can use my hack, which is record yourself on voice memos, reading out your best bits, and then listen to them back like it's your own podcast. I used to do this during high school when I had to memorize essays, and it worked so well. Part of it is probably my brain is like geared toward auditory processing. That's probably my learning style. But I would put the essay in and just replay and replay and replay for hours, and I would memorize it word for word. And not that the goal is to go in like a robot and recite word for word, but my point is it helps you to know it so well that you then aren't freaked out about forgetting and you can adapt and convey the stories better. So yeah, I've done this when going to interviews before, recorded maybe 2 best bits at a time, really went through them and spoke about it like as if I was in an interview, like, yeah, great questions. So, you know, do it like the real thing. And it's just such a great hack, especially if you're like cooking dinner or, you know, you're in bed, passive driving, just put yourself on.
If you've got a long drive to the interview, that'd be great for that.
Osmosis.
You can't look over your notes.
Yeah.
You just play it like while you're driving on the way to your interview. And then also make time to listen to this right before you go in episode. Obviously, you need to do your breathing exercises with Emma in the car. So that's our tips to practice by yourself. Do you have any other tips? I think that's your greatest one, is like the recording one. Anything else? You could stand in the mirror, I guess. People used to talk about that when you're doing speeches. Mm-hmm. You could film yourself like video, but I don't need to see that.
I think try practicing without notes too. Like sit there and just try and do it from your memory, because you're not going to have the note. Well, you'll have your notebook in there, but yeah, don't have the perfectly written words in front of you and reciting that. You can do that a couple of times, but then transition to just raw dogging it, you know? Interview Academy might be the perfect thing you're looking for. Interview Academy is a course Sarah has been working on after delivering hundreds of interview coaching sessions and getting incredible results.
But unfortunately, I'm only one gal living in an Aussie time zone who works a day job, and all of that mean I can't help everyone one-on-one, which drove me crazy.
So for over a year, Sarah's been working on turning all of those amazing lessons into an on-demand, step-by-step interview prep course. We hold your hand through the entire thing,
and you can do it at home in your own time and get instant access right now. Check it out at interviewboss.com.au/interview-academy. The link is in the show notes. Then I think practice doing, this is the last like little thing that's a little bit harder. It's a different skill too, because it's not just practicing reading them out. Practice matching your best bits to a different question that you haven't thought of. So go through our interview questions database. It's a free download on our website if you don't already have it. Pick a question out of there that's like relevant for the job you're going for, and then challenge yourself to go, okay, that's the question. Which one of my best bits am I going to choose? And you have to come up with it and say it on the spot. Like practice doing a bit of matching between, if I got this question, which one would I choose and how would I go about it?
You could even turn this into flashcards with your partner.
Oh, well.
Oh, I just thought of another hack. Dad used to do this with me I'm just getting flashbacks to my senior high school years. But again, having to remember quotes, or because I went to a religious school, Bible quotes, like literal Bible quotes. Is it called pegging, the system where you
yes.
think, okay, yeah, well, it's called pegging, where you think of...
Don't Google that.
Yeah, don't Google that. It's where you think of a unique way to remember the particular story. So let's say...
I think memory pegging is probably a better way to...
Memory pegging. So say if... I'll give a rogue example that I remember. The quote was about like, love thy neighbor or something. And it was Corinthians 2:1-4, like 2-1 verses, whatever. And Dad was like, right, Corinthians are a type of blind. Like, does everyone know what a blind is? Like, like curtain, like a type of blind, a window covering. So you're just going to remember that we have them here at home, and there's 17 rows of them, and we have them in 2 windows of the house. And it's so ridiculous. And I would be like laughing and being like, oh my God, Dad, you're so embarrassing. Like, what the hell? But it would work.
Yeah, it does. The stupider it is, the better you remember it.
Yeah. Or like, I remember there was one that had the like year 67, and it was like, my friend Jeannie's dad is 67 years old. So like just any weird thing you can do to remember. If your story example is about like conflict, and it was conflict with a guy at work called Cameron, like, use something funny to try and remember the story.
Yeah, like we had to go through and memorize all the verbs that they would use in exams. Do you remember them, where it's like if they say propose or they say justify or they say explain, you have to do different things in your answer because those words...
But to discuss means go into for and against detail, yeah.
Yes, and like to evaluate means you have to discuss and then you have to draw a judgment at the end or something. So we had to memorize all the definitions of those verbs so that we knew how to respond in exams. And we went through a list of like 24 of them, or like however many, and memorized every single one and exactly what it meant, with all these silly little memory hacks. And I remember like there were some that we just were like couldn't come up with anything, so we just did a silly voice, and then the silly voice, like justify, that was one of the ones. Just if I could support an argument or conclusion. that's what justify
put it
is.
into a song.
Justify.
When I had to learn the muscles for PDHPE, I made a song. That's my body in motion.
Doesn't that happen in like... It's not Lizzie McGuire. I think it's like...
Hannah Montana,
yes,
yeah.
But it's Hannah Montana.
Hers didn't cover all of the muscles. I had to go from scratch.
She wasn't detailed enough. Hannah Montana let you down. Well, yeah, anyway, use some memory hacks. Look up some memory hacks if you need some help.
This is how the song went, by the way. I've got my tibials anterior, my soleus gastrocnemius, my hamstrings and quadriceps, gluteus maximus, erectae spinae, external oblique, latissimus dorsi, triceps brachii, biceps brachii, my deltoids trapezius, pectorials major, rectus abdominum, forearm extensors, and that's my body in motion.
I tried to interrupt, but you just wanted to do the whole thing. It was just necessary.
Yeah.
So now everybody knows
that was my moment.
The muscle song. Incredible. I mean, it's like the song that you'd sing to remember the periodic table. Do you remember that one?
Oh, hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen. Come on, let's have a competition. Who can go the furthest?
Nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, sodium, magnesium. I always used to get stuck at magnesium. I can't remember.
Wrong.
If I got the next one, then I would get more. But like they were just the general breaks in my thing.
What a throwback.
I know, right?
Anyway.
School, it really just taught us some stuff that was useless content, but like hacks to remember things. to prepare for exams.
That was so deep of you. School really taught us some things.
Oh, stop teasing me. You're sassy today. Okay, so this is the fun part because we have a little surprise for you guys. You can also practice with somebody else. Emma talked about this with flashcards. Maybe you get some flashcards. Maybe you get someone else to quiz you. Well, we have a special little download for you. And you can go and get that free resource on our website. You have to put your email address in so that we can keep in touch with you and also send you the link to the thing. But it's going to be a little PDF that you can then give to the person that you're going to get to help you. So give it to your dad, give it to your mum, give it to your friend, give it to your partner, whoever it is that's going to be helping you prep, your roommate, your neighbour, your dog. Your dog's not going to help, but, you know, give it to them. It's going to be like a little training guide for them so that they can actually help you properly. And then at the end of this, we're going to reveal what next week's episode or next episode is going to be about. So we're practicing with someone else. What are the tips for someone else helping us?
First, write down the questions that you want them to ask you. So we're going to help them out. They're not a mind reader. So you can find what kind of questions you want them to ask you by looking at the job ad and the criteria, any questions they made you answer in the application, things like that.
Yeah. Interview database, the question database.
Get some questions together and then get them to ask you and pretend it's real.
Yeah.
You know, reply under the simulation and actually get them to give you feedback.
Yeah. And we have given this guide so that we're telling them, here's what you should be looking for so that you can give good feedback. Because what I don't want to happen when you're practicing with someone else is that I hear this all the time, they mean well. We love them. The people that are helping you, they really do mean well. But if you're practicing with your roommate or your partner and they're suddenly giving you all the opposite advice to what we've been giving you, and like if they literally work at the company, great. Well, then you should probably listen to them. If they're like in the hiring decisions for that company and they sit in on the interviews, the way that that's going to be decision made, great. Then they trump our decisions. If they don't though, and they just like are a person who's had interviews before, they're trying to help, but they don't really know what they're doing.
Don't let them undo our work. God damn it.
Yes. And that's why we're going to give them a little cheat sheet, tell them to stick to that. Their other thoughts are welcome. I just don't want them to be like,
oh, my dad told me you shouldn't say that in an interview or...
Yes, exactly. All of that stuff that's like really specific extra advice. If they're saying, oh, that was a bit confusing, I didn't understand what you did there, great. All of that's really helpful. But we don't want their unsolicited like interview expert advice that's coming out of nowhere that's really unvalidated, that they saw a TikTok once and it said that you should answer like this. We don't want that, right? So just tell them to hold that, but read through the PDF and they can use that to give you some feedback.
We're so good doing a PDF to spoon feed the helpers. We're like, hey, we don't want your helpers to be useless or confuse you. We'll train them for you. You've got enough on your plate.
We will train your helpers. And what is our episode next week? What's our next episode after this one?
Next week is an episode you can send to the helper and say, oi, listen to this. Listen now. And we're going to score them, catch them up to speed. Not the whole thing, because they might not be interviewing themselves and they don't want to know every piece of advice we've ever given, but we're going to give them advice on how to be a good helper for their loved one who's going for an interview.
Yes. And I think I have a feeling my spidey senses are telling me this is going to be a really, 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 really helpful episode. So send this to someone that is going to help you practice. We're going to give them some tips on how to support you, how to be incredible. Maybe even like you don't listen to it and just send it to them. That would be fun because then you don't know what we've told them. You just like let them surprise you. Let us help them surprise you. That would be lovely.
Sounds great.
And also, I just want to call out, if you don't have someone else you can practice with, that's okay. I live alone. I don't have anyone I can practice with. I would have to do it over the phone or something. It's all right. You can do perfectly well practicing by yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. We're not moping. We're not thinking about it. We're not spiraling about the fact that there's no one to help you. That's not relevant right now.
And Google has an interview practice question simulation thing. So
it does.
You can use that. We have a whole episode on using that.
Yep. You can go and use that. You can use ChatGPT. You can do stuff by yourself. We are not spiraling about not having someone to help. Okay. Good luck with your practice. Thanks so much for listening to Interview Boss. If you like hearing the sound of our voices, follow us in Apple or Spotify, or better yet, tell someone else about the show. That's how we can hit the charts and we can help even more people nail their job interviews and land those jobs. For more advice and to make me feel guilty about not posting so that I start posting more helpful stuff on Instagram, please give us a little pity follow, and hopefully by the time you're listening to this, maybe we've revived it, actually.
We've been your job search besties and helped you in some way. There's a cool way you can support the show. Shout us a virtual coffee.
We get a huge kick out of reading all of your success stories. Head to buymeacoffee.com/interviewboss and shout us a cuppa.
If you keep us caffeinated, we can keep the content coming.